So this reasoning don't really have no structure. It's more a response in terms of vibes, you know, because sometimes the vibes alone and some word sounds can really put a nice perspective onto a big thing. So this so-called reggae crisis is a thing which is very funny, you know, to even hear that people say there's a crisis. I just wonder what's going on in their minds. Because for me, where's a crisis? If there's a rehearsal room and there's musicians and there's electricity, I don't see no crisis because I know reggae can go on. You see, so the only time is like, boy, if you can't get electricity for the band and the bass and you can't find band members and you can't find a crowd of people to come hear the music, then you have a crisis. Apart from that, no man, because there's billions of angels listen to you when you sing, even as you walk in the bush alone and you just sing, there's billions of angels listening to you. So I don't know who's gonna put those two words together and say reggae crisis. I'm not part of that. And that's what I come to dispel right now, immediately. You see, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. Anyway, I could talk forever with this reasoning, so you hear that reasoning. Okay, so let me just touch on Buju. All right, let me just touch on Buju Banton. That interview where he had with those people, that champs, whatever it was. Um, for me, the only thing I take from it is just I just look on Buju and say, Brethren, like what happened to you? You know, it's like my question is just like, Brethren, how could you expect Afrobeats to deliver the thing that reggae deliver? How could you make? How does Afrobeats even come into it? You know, in a sense of like the expectation of that. You know, if you had an expectation from African reggae artists, they're gonna say, yeah, and we exist. I'm one of them. You understand? And we fight in this. We know to fight for freedom in Africa. You know, and we know when you say reggae helped to liberate Africa, yes, like Zimbabwe, yes, there was the music, there was the artist, but on the ground was the soldiers with the guns, you know, and in between them is the strategists, and the strategists must know what they're doing. So it's not wasted at all. Reggae did that. Reggae is doing that. Reggae is there right now. You see what I'm saying? So, and the Africans who hear it, we are here. You know, so I don't know. So to me, it's just I just wonder how did your attention even go to Afrobeats? Because Afrobeats is a thing which it come through my ear, I dance and I enjoy, but I don't expect nothing from the people who are not called by His Majesty. How can I expect anything from people who are not called by His Majesty? If they deliver, I'm surprised and I say, Jah is great. You know, I expect something from people who are called by His Majesty or who say they're called by His Majesty. I expect the greatest things. And if they're not coming, then we have a problem. Then we must say, hey, brethren, why is it not delivering the way it's supposed to deliver? You know, so for me, it's not even putting anybody down whatsoever. I'm just surprised that, you expect that to come from Afrobeats. So you mentioned Fela Kuti as one of the favorite artists, and you say he's the biggest artist to come out of Africa, with the original Afrobeat, and it's true, you know. But in the words of Fela Kuti's song, or what you said on that show, there's a song by Fela Kuti called "He Missed Road." He missed road. You know, musician who go to play for Association of the Deaf and Dumb. He missed road. Oh Lord, he missed road. Oh God, he missed road. Aha. So that's my answer to that issue. Make sure you don't miss the road. You know, because everything now that we said that, we come to the marketing. And people talking about reggae music and reggae crisis and numbers, like how the promoter from Barcelona was talking about the numbers going down and artists charging too much and all these things. When you listen to that talk, all of that talk, you know what you're supposed to think about? Go right back to 1972 and think, why did Chris Blackwell tell Bob Marley to do things a certain way? Okay, why? Even though it didn't make sense to Bunny Wailer, why did it make sense to Bob Marley and sort of make sense to Peter Tosh, you know, but make total sense to Bob Marley? Because Chris Blackwell is understanding marketing, and something was serious about marketing. You see, Bob Marley, reason for success is because Bob was marketed as a rock artist to a rock crowd, and rock was the thing that was going on then. And Bob Marley fulfilled a thing that that rock crowd was hungry for, because the greatest artists who represented that thing were gone. Jimi Hendrix was gone. The Beatles were broken up. You know, the music has gone into glam rock, like stupid lyrics. You know, and so Janis Joplin was gone. Jim Morrison was gone, and this hippie movement was an anti-war movement, and there was nobody to represent that. And the Black Panthers was being fought down too. And Bob Marley came and put all those things together. And Jimmy Cliff could have done it too. It's just that Jimmy Cliff opted out. So it's not even about the color of Bob Marley the way people talk about it. Marketing is about the dynamics of what the people on the ground feel. People would have bought into Jimmy Cliff exactly the same way they bought into Bob Marley had Chris Blackwell marketed Jimmy Cliff. So it's not a reggae crisis, it's a marketing crisis. You have to understand the feeling of the people on the ground and what they're dealing with. You see, the issue is, what's happening is that the artists and the people who are marketing music right now, where they're at is that they're following the trip in their head. And they think that the trip in their head is valid enough to create a marketing strategy, and it isn't. It has to be a combination of the trip in your head and the reality on the ground. So you have to make sure that you have both. You see? And you have to know how to put the two things together. Then you have the marketing going, you know. So it's Chris Blackwell could not sing, but he could listen and he could understand what's going on. Another one is Richard Branson. So because they understand what is the feeling of the people on the ground. I mean, you have to wake up sometime, you understand, because Prince Buster says that he went on a tour in England and it's just pure skinheads come to him and the skinheads carry him. Why? He's saying something with a frustration. That's why Bob have to come back later with Punky Reggae Party. Why? Because you say something that resonates. See, so what you say resonates in numbers. That's why you can go to Toronto and you can go across America and resonate with the feelings that the people have in Jamaica. But it's because they say, wow, we want to go yard, and now yard has come and come with Buju Banton. But you know, the reality is some people start to write and say, why, you want me to really pay them kind of money and I'm suffering here just for a show? What about my reality in America? You understand? So those are issues. You can no longer sing about these issues and bring awareness to these issues, because as long as you suffer the issues, you know the issues. What the people want now is a final solution to the economic issues. So the reggae artist must think in terms of like, no, I'm not the reggae artist, that's different. The people who are going to market the reggae cannot market the reggae no more. They have to market the mechanism that's going to make sure the money come out for the people. It's no longer, the song is all right. The artists are all right.